1997, and I just came home from this summer program called ACSAT, the Alabama Government School for the Arts and Technology. And me and my brother Amir decided to start a record label. Tuskegee AL's Reality Records was the name it eventually ended up being called. I decided to use the talents I had just learned in this summer program to start a company. Being from a small town in Alabama, I had never seen the power of technology until I went through that program. I built my first website, for example. I really truly surfed the internet for the first time because the internet in Tuskegee, where I was from, was so trash that it took like 10 minutes for a website to load up for most of our computers at Booker T. Washington High School in Tuskegee. And most of them weren't even connected to the internet, specifically the ones in the computer lab. In contrast, most of the 2-week summer program that Mrs. Boyd from Booker T helped me get into at Booker T. Washington Magnet High School in Montgomery, they had the latest Macs there, equipped with a computer lab 3 times the size of ours and fully connected to the internet, like I said. I remember sending my first email from the Microsoft accounts they set us up with. And I'm gonna be honest with you, from that moment, I've been hooked on technology. There was this guy at the program named George. He was from Montgomery, went to Carver High School. I wanna say he was a little bit older, maybe a senior, and at the time I was a sophomore in high school. And we were staying in the AUM dorms, and I remember being in his room one night, and he was like, "Let me show y'all something." It was me, a set of twins from Montgomery, I think their names was Michael and Marcus, and one other guy from North Alabama somewhere. And George had brought his entire stereo system there with him. It was an hour radio with a microphone connected in the front and red and white yellow jacks in the back. So that it was the first time me seeing a system set up where you could have the TV, the radio with the microphone connected, and specifically I remember him playing Montel Jordan featuring Silk the Shocker and Master P, and him saying Master P's signature catchphrase, at the same time as Master P, and you could hear him coming out through the speakers. My mind was blown. Fast forward 2 weeks later, I'm coming home, and my brother Amir, who's like 13 at the time, is pissed off to the highest level of possible pissed off for a teenager. The situation was that my older brother did construction work, and me and Amir would work with him sometimes. And when we did get paid, which was rare, we would spend our money mostly buying new No Limit CDs, like the authentic ones, with the book and the cover. And at the time, Amir had a collection of about 35 No Limit CDs. I'm talking about damn near everyone. Because what people didn't know about Amir, but I did, he was, and still is to this day, a musical genius. So he could take these CDs, listen to them over and over again, and be able to dissect them and tell you exactly what's happening. Just to provide a little backstory, I played the baritone in 6th and 7th grade, and I was okay at it. But Amir, on the other hand, he played the baritone in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. He was hands down one of the best to ever do it. One of the biggest accomplishments out of our little city, which is not widely known because most people don't understand what it is, was when Amir's 7th grade concert band went to the state competition and got all superiors, the highest score you can possibly get. So fast forward to the end of the Mills Band's career, He's looking for his next musical challenge. Our older brother comes to our house and takes away all his No Limit CDs, saying this music was the devil and quoting the Quran and using this as justification for robbing his younger brother for his prized possession that he worked in the heat for 3 summers to get the money to buy the collection. So I'm like, Amir, fuck them niggas. Because it was the older brother that pulled off theft, but the rest of the quote-unquote family made no objections. So Amir had also got a radio with some of his money as well. So I remembered the radio George had at that AUM dorm. And I had an idea. Let's start making our own music. So we traded in the radio Amir had just bought at Sears in Opelika at the Village Mall and got an hour radio like the one that George had. So it started with the music. So we used the microphone to hang down over the keyboard to capture the sound. And we perfected that pretty quickly. Before we knew it, we were making whole songs. The next advancement to the studio was like divine intervention. Because we had bought a PlayStation from some of them, from more of our back-breaking labor in the Alabama heat, carrying heavy-ass shingles onto roofs and things of that nature. So at this point, because of the hour radio, we had the TV, the PlayStation connected to the sound system with full surround sound. So we got this video game demo in the mail from Sony. And one of the games on there was a game that would change our lives forever. It was called MTV Music Generator. And Amir went into this software, worked his magic, and figured out how to make beats on it. Instead of having to hold the mic over the keyboard, he could now hold a PlayStation controller, create a beat on the TV, and go straight to the speakers. So at this point, we just have the demo version of the game, and I'm like, we have to buy the full version to unlock the rest of the features. And I went to work some odd jobs for my mean-ass Aunt Katie, who we later found out had syphilis from the Tuskegee syphilis study. But that's a whole different story for a different day. And I'll never forget going to KB Toys buying that game. So we make it home. We pop it in. Then when I tell you Amir sat there and created magic, it was the most beautiful thing ever. The way his eyes lit up and came alive was crazy to see. We quickly got to the point where we created one song at least a day. In light of what was happening with Amir's No Limit CDs, we decided not to tell anyone in the family that this is what we were doing. Because honestly, it's almost the 25-year anniversary of the launch of our record label, and Amir is yet to get back his CDs. And some of them were so rare, you can't find them in stores to buy or on streaming platforms. I remember one of the first people we let hear our music, because naturally, we wanted a little feedback. My senior year in high school, one of my cousins from Detroit, KC, enrolled in Tuskegee University, God rest his soul. And we would pick him up in my brother Virgil's 97 Jeep Cherokee and take him places he needed to go. So we were riding the city one day and decided to put him on game. And he was highly impressed. It made us feel good that the first person that heard our music gave it a stamp of approval. So with that behind us and a few more people we let hear, all of them loved it. we decided to branch out a little. So by now, it's late December 1999, and we were in Monroe, Georgia, at a Chuck E. Cheese for my nephew Omar's birthday. And as people start to leave and go their different directions, we jump in my brother Shadid's truck. Just a little backstory before I finish that part. When you're creating music, especially when you're teaching yourself, it's important to make sure that your music is coming out right. So since we were young and broke and didn't have proper equipment, our life hack we used to do was take our tapes into Walmart and go into the electronics section with their super fancy stereos that lets you control all the levels and play them loud and take our sounds for a test drive until we got them right. Another divine thing that used to happen with that, when we went to Walmart's with my mom in our nearest Walmart in Auburn, that actually was once in Tuskegee but relocated to Auburn because of nigga shit. But that's a whole different story for a whole nother day, and it's wild. Meanwhile, we would go into Walmart and instantly go into the electronics section, and my mom would be shopping for whatever she was shopping for. And I kid you not, an alarm would go off in our heads when she was in line ready to go. I never forget once she had a friend with her, Sophia, with her. And we separated at the main entrance, and she was like, "Where are they going?" And my mom was like, "They somehow know exactly when I'm in line and ready to go. So that's all I care about." Then when we magically showed up, as soon as she gets in line, her jaw drops. The whole time we got the electronics section bumping to some of our classics like 10 Niggas, Rollin' Riding, and the list goes on. Fast forward back to Omar's birthday party, and we're in a Walmart with our older brother Shadid, and I decided to blow his mind right quick. So we take him to the electronics section and pull out a mixtape. Before niggas knew what mixtapes were, mind you, and we played it for him. And you know that look you see on people's face of total shock? That's what I was going for. And that's what happened times 20. He was living in Atlanta at the time, looking for studios to record it, not knowing that there was a better studio right under his nose. So Amir started recording his music for free, just to get our sound right. Amir was the studio engineer, the producer, guru, and I was like the jack of all trades. One minute I might make a beat, the next I might write a hook, and then I'm figuring out another and new and creative way to make the whole situation run better. Brings me to our next advancement. By this point, there is talk in the quote-unquote family that we're making music. So everybody has an opinion, but I'm not concerned about it at that point. I wish niggas would try to pull another stunt like the CD theft of 97. So to give us cover from that foolishness, I decided to play some instrumentals Amir made for my dad on our living room TV. A tiny bit of backstory: my dad is a musician and plays the hell out of his expensive ass electronic guitar. So I figured he would be proud to know we're carrying on the tradition into the next generation. And when I tell you, he was all in from minute one that he heard our music. He was all in. He was retired from the city of Atlanta for 25 years and was like 20 years into the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and also had his own shop at his house big enough to fix cars, and an 18-wheeler could drive into it. I'm saying all that to say that by the time he would drive all the way to Alabama to our house, he would be dead tired. So when he sat down that day and I played him a song or two, he instantly relaxed and damn near fell asleep and said, "Boy, that's damn good." Side note, I know what I'm doing after high school at this point. I'm kind of mad that the record label isn't profitable yet, so I can just manage that. But we're aspiring to be like Master P and his brothers, so I'm headed off to the Navy to travel the world, and also the job I selected was radio man, so I can start our own radio station. But once again, another story for another day. So I'm saying all of that to say that I decided that we should ask my dad for an investment into the business. But instead of my 18-year-old about to go off to the Navy ass, who was basically grown, and me asking him, I thought it would be best if Amir asked. So he did, and he invested a substantial amount of money.